I once got an email about a product that was just new and that someone had just launched. The idea and concept of it sounded amazing. It sounded like this really awesome thing and it got me really excited. So of course I clicked the button to check it out because I wanted to find out more about what they were doing. But when I got to their website, it felt thrown together. It felt there was a lack of care. They had this incredible idea, but it was just so poorly executed. It seemed slapped together, rushed, and basically just like it was just thrown together quickly to try and get it out there, and that they hadn't taken the time to really make something beautiful. Now, of course, this isn't me judging them and saying, oh, they didn't do a good enough job, they could have done better than that, because I know sometimes people only have certain skill levels, or they just want to get something out there and they don't want to obsess over it and become too perfectionist about it. But this really felt slapped together. It really felt like there was a lack of care. There's actually a big difference between perfectionism and just doing your best. If you are delaying over putting something out there because you're trying to fuss and get it just right and just perfect and just the best it can possibly be, then you're letting perfectionism get in the way of getting it out there. But then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're slapping something together really fast to get it out there as soon as possible and not putting any care into it, then you're not giving it your best effort. It's sort of that balance where you need to give it some care and good effort and make the most of the skills and resources you have, but not to the point where you're obsessing over it so much that you're not actually putting it out there. This particular product too was all about having an experience. They didn't fully tell you everything you were going to be getting because it was so much about this experience. And so when that very first part of the experience, when you first find out about it, was lacking thoughtfulness and didn't feel like it had any kind of great experience to it. And to me, it was the kind of thing that just stops you in your tracks and thinks, I don't want to go any further. I don't want to find out more. I'm not excited because it feels like this is rushed and lacking of care. So if I go any further to find out more about this, then, what else have they just slapped together? And is the whole thing just going to be a big letdown? In today's video, I want to talk about why it's so important to brand and create with care, especially as small businesses. We really need to be creating with care. Because the thing about small business is you want to create a connection with people. So the people that are buying from you want to get to know you and get a connection with you, and you want to really connect with your audience. And there needs to be this more intimate feeling about it. And so you need to demonstrate that you actually care. And not just through how you deliver on your end product, but also the whole process. Every touch point needs to show some level of care, to show you genuinely care about your audience and that you're not just trying to throw things together to try and quickly make money. I did a quick survey on Facebook and asked people what their reasons for buying a product was from a small business. And the three main things were the personal benefit that they're going to get from that product, connection to the brand and its values, and finally how it makes them feel. So when you think about those three reasons that people are going to buy, making sure that you're creating and marketing with care is going to make a big difference. We want to feel confident that the person that's created this for us has had us in mind, has really thought about how it's going to benefit us, what they can do and what they can offer us, rather than them just trying to quickly make money off. So the use of words and graphics and the way something's presented can really tell a story of how much care someone has put into it. And that doesn't mean things have to be perfect. You shouldn't be using perfectionism to procrastinate over getting something out there, because what you have to offer is something that other people need. So by taking too long to get it out there, you're doing other people a disservice. You need to be putting your skills and talents out there so that you can help others. But you do need to be doing it with thought and care, which means presenting it and giving it in a way that's going to make people feel like you actually care about them and that you really genuinely are wanting to help them. If you just simply slap something together, it's going to be felt and people aren't going to trust you as much. It's only going to be a turn off. So it's really about giving it effort, giving it thought, but not going to the point where you're obsessing over it and trying to get it so perfect that you don't actually get it out there. Think about too, when you go to the grocery store and you see products that are branded and look all beautiful, lovely packaging, and then the no-name brand that's really bland and boring, you're more likely to want to opt for that beautiful brand name, even though what's inside is probably exactly the same, because of how it makes you feel, because it feels like that brand took an effort. They made beautiful packaging, they made it nice, they created more of an experience to it. And so that's alluring. You want to have that experience and want to feel that care. You don't want something that just feels chucked together and some ugly fonts on it and bland and silly. There are times, sure, where you might think it doesn't really matter, I'll just grab that one. But there are also times where you want to feel care, especially when it comes to products where you want that feeling. For example, if you really love having a nice cup of tea or coffee and you really enjoy that experience, then you're probably going to more likely opt for a brand that really takes care of their packaging and creates something beautiful because it adds to your experience. So what are some ways you can show care in the way that you create? So first of all, by creating copy and graphics where you actually think about the audience. Keep your audience in mind as you work through the design process. What kind of things will they absolutely love? What's going to really appeal to them? What's going to speak to them? What's going to really add some thoughtful delight to it? Another way is offering extra value. So adding in extra unexpected things, whether it's adding some kind of bonus gift, personally writing to them to say thank you, or going above and beyond with your time. Anything where you can just go that little step further where there's this extra element of delight that they weren't expecting. And going along with that, something personal. If you're selling physical products, it could be writing that little handwritten note with it to thank them for buying. Or it could be, giving shout outs. Maybe if someone keeps sharing your stuff on social media and then shouting them out and saying, thanks so much for doing that. I've seen people too where they'll keep an eye on people that are sharing their stuff and every now and then just send them a free gift to say thank you. So really paying attention to your audience and finding little ways to make it more hands-on and personal so that they feel like you really care. It can be even the simplest of things, like making sure you always reply to comments. So if you're getting lots of comments on one of your social media feeds, but you just ignore them because you're so busy, then people are going to feel this lack of care. Whereas if you take the time to actually reply to people, that's really going to make a big difference because they're going to feel like this person actually cares what I've got to say to them and they're actually listening to me. And then how you package it. So obviously, if you're selling physical products, the way you package it up, showing a bit of care in the way of packaging, and that it's not just quick slap together packaging like when you buy something direct from China, but that it's coming from a seller that really cares about their audience. And it doesn't have to be expensive or too fancy, but just show a little bit of care. And then if it's digital products, it could be the way you're presenting it. So maybe you're sending some really beautifully designed PDFs or an email series where you've really thought about things and the questions the person might have so that you're really covering all bases so they really feel heard and you're really making it a really beautiful experience. And then when it comes to your branding, you also want to take care with that too, so that every touch point is going to have that feeling of care. So when you're creating your branding, consider your audience, not just your own personal tastes. What do your audience really resonate with? Add little personal touches, make special little things that make it stand out and unique. Speak your customers' visual language. Use language and visuals that's on their level. Don't try to be too smart or witty if they're not going to understand it. Think about what they're actually going to understand and don't talk below them either where you're making them seem like they're stupid. Really think about how you can speak on their level so that they feel a real connection to you. Treat them as if they're a friend. And then at all touch points, think about how you want to make people feel. So as you design different elements of your branding and different touch points along the way, think about when someone gets this, how do I want them to feel? How do I want that experience to be when they receive this? And how can I design it in a way that they're going to feel that? So it really is all about thoughtfulness. It's not about just quickly, I've got to get this together, got to do this, got to do that, and how can I just make it pretty really fast or whatever, but actually thinking about the people it's for and how you want them to feel and the experience you want them to get out of it. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's just about thoughtfulness. And that will really make an impression and an impact. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and be sure to subscribe if you want to learn more about graphic design, branding and creativity, and I'll see you next time.